It is dark, gloomy and rainy outside. It's horrible. But we've just had some amazing news. The Apollo Phantom V3 is finally arriving, and I've just had tracking to say that it's pulling up in the car park right now. Doorbell, let's go, let's go, let's go. He looked familiar. Where is it? That is a ridiculously small box to have a scooter in it. Oh well, one is a modern technology, I suppose. Of course it's not a scooter, you wallies. The V3 isn't out till much later in the year, but it is the V3 conversion kit. Now, for all you V2 owners out there, you've got the Apollo Phantom V2 or even the V1, you can now convert to a V3. It's such a cool idea from Apollo, letting their riders do that. So you don't have to buy a new scooter, you can just upgrade and still get that same performance of all those guys who are going to buy the V3 down the line. Now, what it gives you, more speed, more power, improved acceleration, regen braking, and app functionality, which is going to allow you to lock your scooter and change loads of settings inside. Such a cool idea from Apollo. You don't have to buy a new scooter, you're going to be able to upgrade to the V3 without having to buy a whole new scooter. So good for customers, that is. Well done, Apollo. Now, what Apollo have said is this is fairly straightforward to fit. We obviously have a few technicians here, but I want to see how straightforward exactly it is to fit. So I've seen a lot of scooters repaired, thousands probably, but I've never done one myself. So I'm going to give this a go. So, well, under the guidance of a technician, of course, because I want it to be safe, but I want to see exactly how easy it is to do. Now, for those of you guys who find those bits boring, don't worry. You can skip to the good parts because we're also going to be testing it as soon as it's fitted to see how fast it goes, see the differences between that and the old V2. We're going to see how far it goes as well, whether it drains the battery more. We'll go on the brakes, do all that, and we'll do some off-roading as well, just to put it through its paces as we always do. Right, let's look at the bits. We've got the regen, the display, we've got the controller itself, the connector, and the throttle. Let's get them fitted. Right, I have made it into the workshop. We've got our old faithful, the V1, which we converted to a V2 Phantom, and now we're going to convert to a V3. Obviously, I'm very inexperienced with upgrading scooters electrically, so I have my mentor, Dan, the technician, with me. Feel a bit high up, hold on. That's better. So we've got all the parts we need to fit right here on the deck, and I was going to use the written guide, but instead I found this Apollo V3 installation guide on YouTube, and this handsome gentleman here from Apollo gives a really good explanation on how to fit the V3 kit, so I'm going to follow this tutorial. Now, what he tells me initially is that I need a Phillips head screwdriver, 3 and 4mm hex bits, and snips. So those are the only tools apparently that I require, which is great to hear because they all seem very simple and I've used all of those tools before. Let's get to work. Apologies if you can hear the technician's music in the background, it's not my choice, it's theirs, but each to their own. Right, what the lovely Luke from Apollo has told us to do first is use a 3mm hex bit and take the deck off. So that's what we're going to do. So you lift the edges up here, find the screws, and we unscrew all of those. But where am I going to put the nut and bolts? Here we go, make sure you've got a tray. Lovely magnetic one there, which does make things easier. And the last one. Right, now that's done, we can remove the deck. Okay, what's next, Luke? Remove the foam. That's the foam here at each end. Foam's removed. And then we've got to disconnect the battery connectors. So I'm going to grab Dan quickly because I don't want to hurt myself. Dan! Dan! Is that the battery connector and is that the battery connector? It is. Okay, correct. Cool. Thank you. You may go. Okay, that's disconnected. That is disconnected. On to the next bit. Thank you, Luke. Okay, next is disconnect the charging cables, which on this side are down here. Dan! So now I need to disconnect the charging cables. Yeah. Which are, I presume, down here, because this is where the charger is. Battery is disconnected. Luke, what's next? So we need to disconnect the old controllers and the light box from the wire harness. So let's do the motor cables first. Now I do know what the motor cables are. This one here, pop that one out. And also for the front, this one down here. Motor cables are disconnected. On to the next. Okay. So now we're going to get onto the COM cable disconnect from the controller. I mean, it all looks like an absolute mash of tangled wires, but there is theory here. Disconnecting all the comms cable, phase wires, just saying electrical words that I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, and now it says I can take the light box off as well. So there's like a mini lighting controller on here as well. I've already partially started doing that anyway. This bit's easy taking it all apart, isn't it? It's putting it back together. It's going to be the hard bit. Hey, don't need you anymore. Second controller. So they are out. I like Luke's voice. It's calming.
Now the next step will be...
Whoa, 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 whoa. We are done down below. So I'm going to keep that lighting controller here because we're going to need that later. I've got the 2 motor wires, one at the front and one at the rear here, still in there. I've got the charger port wires still here. And that is about it, I think. And then we've got the lights obviously there. So now what it wants me to do is move up, or we can't go further down with that. And it wants me, Luke wants me, I should say, to snip the wires on the front. Right, I've moved the camera up. Luke has told us to cut off all of the cable ties holding the wires on the handlebars carefully so you don't snip the wires, which is what I'm doing now. It's a little bit fiddly, but being careful. Obviously these are just to keep the wires together so they look neat and tidy. Oh, there's one right under there. You've got to be so careful with some of these. Done. Get a decent set of snips. Does help. Last one. Excellent. And then Luke says to disconnect everything that's on the handlebars. So I'm going to flip the scooter around here, back here so you can see. So first of all, that's the throttle. Then I unpop that. Got the orange plugs. These are the quick fix. This is the mode button, so you can select the mode. Also turns the scooter on. We've got the indicators here. Now we've also got the brake sensors as well, which is really handy. That's going to make it easier to pull the brakes off. That one's ruched up really tight. Don't yank them from the cable. Make sure your fingers are on the end of them so you're not actually pulling the cables up from the pins, you're just easing them out. There we go. So that's going to make life a lot easier. And now he tells me it's a quite in the back. It's a 4mm alligator. Whoa, they're done up tight. So before we do that, let's get the grips off. Grips are notoriously hard to get off. Awkward job. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. The techs won't tell me when. They're like, no, it's just strength. I thought there'd be some technique. I think they just want to watch me struggle, to be honest. Toby, how you doing? Come in. I'm all right. The techs told me that this is the only way to do this, but I think they just enjoy watching me struggle.
Twist them up.
Twist them up?
Yeah.
What's that?
Tea, mate.
Yes, please. I've earned it. I've done at least 6 minutes.
If you're going to be a technician, you've got to drink at least 8 gallons of tea a day.
There we go. Tea number 1. Okay, that grip is off. Second grip. Here we go. Oh, this one feels a bit looser. Ooh, quite as hard. I would take doing the electrics over pulling grips off. Right, there we go. Grips are done. 4mm. Spanner for the brakes. Loosen that, there we go. See if I can get it off without having to stretch the cable. Yes, that's come off nice. 3mm for the throttle in behind. Why is that going? Ah, little burr on the end stopping that there. So let's just unscrew that a tad more. Oh, that was quick.
What do you want? Don't hang about.
Cheers, Tove. Set it down there. I don't have time for brakes, mate.
It's a hard life, mate.
It's an hard life, a technician's life. Okay, got my tea. Oh, that's better. Energized again. Right, throttle off. There we go. Don't need that anymore. Shut that down there. Let's get the mode button off. That's how you select, gears 1, 2, and 3. That's gone forever. 4mm for the left brake.
A few moments later.
Right, now time for the scary bit, or the exciting bit, fitting the new controller. Okay, let's see what Luke says. Now, I can see the motor cables already. Okay, so rear motor cable has to be connected, which is this one. Different colored wires, always scary. And then front motor is this one, making sure you get the location pin in place, right? Motors are connected. Hold on a minute, where's my glove? So next, we're gonna connect the COM cable. Now, those are just words to me, but I can see what it looks like, and it looks like that. Because I remember from when we disconnected it earlier. Okay, what's next, Luke? Black connector for the headlight. Okay, so we've got, that looks like the black connector from there, and that is not a headlight. That is not a headlight. Black connector to black connector. They're all black connectors. I need better instructions than that, my man. Let's rewind that bit. Right, he says we have our headlight as well, which is coming out of there, which will be black connector to black connector, which actually does make sense because that and that look like they fit together. Very nice. I could be making a really big mess of this. Ha! We've got our blue wiring and the blue connector, which will be, oh, they're not disconnected though, because I've still got this on. So hold on a minute, hold on. Was I supposed to take the lighting? Was I supposed to take the lighting controller out? Because he didn't mention that. Oh, I think I was supposed to remove this. I'm gonna do it now and hope nothing breaks or blows up. And I haven't told Dan, because he'll think I'm a right idiot. Although, in fairness, I don't think the video showed that. Okay, and now it says I can take the light box off as well. Where were we? So what I need to do is, I've still got my motors connected. I've still got my comms wire connected. I need to find the lighting cable. There's the rear light. There's the actual rear light. There's the rear left light. Did say that was blue to blue. Now, where's the blue on here? There is no blue on here. This is much more difficult than it looks on the video, but that looked like a red cable, didn't it? I think it's that. I think it's fixed. I mean, I know Dan helped me out, but it wasn't that hard. You know, obviously do it with someone who's competent, who knows what they're doing. Because I was a bit scared when that battery sparked. That's like freaked me out. There's a lot of amps and volts going. Well, the volts aren't that high, but the amps are really high through that. So I'm like, that's scary stuff. But it works. Let's get it all put back together. Happy with that. I just need to plug the charge ports back in. So there's one there. They're both underneath. I'm gonna do that now. I've asked Dan to come back just to make sure I'm not doing anything silly when I push it all back in. I don't want to break any wires, but there should be more room now because we've taken the light controller out, the old light controller, and now there's only one controller in here. I know it's bigger, but there were two before, so I've got that right back there. I mean, do I push all of the cables down first, Dan?
This in first.
Ah, so Dan's telling me to try and put the controller in first. Which way? I mean, it's all just such a mash of cables. Yeah. Do they not overheat being next to each other or anything like that? It just seems like I'm like...
Does better on the base.
Okay.
It can help get rid of heat.
So let's see if we can get that down somehow. No, that's not going to work that way. Might work that way. I don't want to pull any or damage any of these cables. They're getting squished up a bit. There is room down there to have it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, is that okay?
I would want it on the bottom to help with heat.
Well, do you want to try? You show me. Oh, you want to take the seat? You want to take the hot seat? He's going to take the hot seat. Let the pro do it. I mean, I might have fit the cables in a weird way. I don't think the way that I've plugged the cables in has helped at all. Oh, I see. I didn't know you were allowed to do that. That's cheating. Oh, now he's slid it right in there. He's done it before. He's done that before. Okay, so then you tuck all them down there. Let me help you. I'll be your able assistant. No, actually, I can't help. Right. I can take it from here. Okay, let's pretend that didn't happen. And I've cleverly worked out how to get it all back in. Right, so I'll put the rubber gasket back on the deck. Does it matter which way it goes out? Possibly. Looks like it was that way before. Make sure the holes are lined up. Now, when you screw the deck down, you don't want to be pinching any of the cables, so really make sure that they're all down. Let's get our deck back on. Right down, right down, right down. On we go. Okay, now let's get our bolts back from before. Get our, if I'd have kept all the tools where they're supposed to be, they'd all be at hand, wouldn't they? Get the Allen key back. Definitely got the wrong one, because that looks like a 3mm. I can't remember, it was so long ago. This job's supposed to take about, I reckon, about an hour. It's taken me about 4 hours so far. Although in fairness, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. Apollo's guide was actually pretty good. Those people who aren't sure, like me, definitely ask an expert, because it is not worth it. First of all, you can damage your scooter. Obviously, worse, you can hurt yourself, because these are quite high powered and you don't want to get a shock from that kind of ampage. I'm actually like fairly impressed. I know Dan's been in and helped. I know he's been in and helped me, but I'm kind of happy I've done it, to be honest. It's given me a bit more of an understanding about how awkward it is really to get cabling in there, and how to know which coloured wires go to what. Obviously after a while you'd start to know you work on the same scooters, but that really baffled me. Right, there we go, deck is done. I'm going to raise the camera up and we're going to finish on the handlebars. Okay, time to fix everything back onto the handlebars. So first of all, we've got the throttle over here. I've already done that one up a little bit, so I need to loosen that now for when we were testing it, just because the other bits need to go on as well. So let's make sure we're in there. Oh, sorry, I feel like I'm a bit nervous doing it on camera. I'm actually tightening that up, not loosening it. Right, what I like to do is I'm actually going to put the brake back on there. There's less on the handlebars now. Everything looks a little bit more simple because these new controllers are simpler because everything is on the throttle. The power button, the indicator's on there, the mode button and the indicator's on there, so you don't have those extra buttons that you're having to use. I'm just literally fitting on these grips just to stop everything falling off for a minute. There we go. Let's roll them all back up to where we wanted them, or roughly where we wanted them before. I quite like that. Make sure it's centralized. And then what I'm going to do is tighten those bolts that were on here just to make sure it doesn't twist round whilst I'm doing it. There we go. Toby's back. What do you need, Tobes?
I need Facet 10 Plus rims.
Sorry, mate. Who doesn't? Facet 10 Plus rims. Sorry, I am in the way of everyone today.
This might be your order.
This might be your order.
If you're watching this and this is your order of Facet 10 Plus rims, leave us a comment. Let's go.
Okay. So the right side's back on now, so I'm going to just get this set up first how I want it. Throttle wants to be there, just slightly down. Let's take that away, get to the fixing point. That looks good to me. Pretty tight, going anywhere? No, I want it a bit higher than that. That's not how I like it exactly. Let's just loosen that off slightly. There we go, and then lock on. There we go, perfect. Tighten it up. Let's tighten that brake up. How do I like it? I like them a bit lower than that. Let's go there. I don't want it too tight to the throttle. Sometimes if you tighten the brake hand lever up too tight to the throttle, it sticks. I don't want that sticking. That's tight. That feels pretty good. I can always change that later. Yeah, that feels good. I've got the throttle there. I might move that a bit further up later on, but now that feels pretty good. Okay, let's get this all the way back on this grip. It's a lot easier to put these on than it was to take them off. There we go. Yeah, there's plenty of room there actually. What I was going to say is a bit more crowded, but it's not. Bell's a bit annoying. That's in the way. I was just maybe taking that off, but obviously for safety it's useful. Right, let's get this throttle fixed on first. I'm just going to have to come around this side because I need to get around here. Okay, and I have that similar place to where I've got the other one. Sorry, my back is to you. Nothing I can do about that. Just fixing this on. Okay. That was super loose. Now it's nice and tight. Right, let's get my brakes set up how I want them again. So like I said, I don't want it too tight to that throttle. I'd rather the brake was tight to the bell. Just takes that potential snagging away. Just tighten one up, then the other, rather than just tightening one all the way up, just so you get an even grip. Nice. And let's tighten this bell up. That's the Phillips. So actually, tools-wise, really straightforward, wasn't it? 2 Allen keys and a Phillips screwdriver, a pair of snips. Now, obviously I've got to fit a light back on here at some point, got the cable here. I'm now just going to turn it back on, make sure everything's working again. Indicators are on, mode buttons are working. Yeah, lights are on, brake lights are working. Excuse me. Now, final test, I'm just gonna rerun the motors. So I'm gonna chuck it up onto, you're not gonna be able to see it there, but I'm gonna chuck it onto the stand. So we lifted the V3 up onto the stand. Ready to press the accelerator. I want to see how fast it can get freewheeling. 79 kilometers an hour almost immediately. Stop that dead. Let's try again. 3, 2, 1. Yep, 79 kilometers. Okay, this is going to be fast. Let's take a closer look at the app functionality so we can get out there and try it out in the real world. So having app functionality is a really amazing part of any new scooter, and we want to show you what some of those features are here. So we've replaced the display that has the Bluetooth connector in it. So now we download the Apollo Scooters app, click on that, and it will open. What it's showing is that's not switched on. So turn it on. It needs to link via Bluetooth. A little sign comes up on the screen, Bluetooth sign. And then here we go onto the Bluetooth button, which is down the bottom, and it connects. Hopefully that first screen shows you your speed. So obviously I'm on a tablet here, which is massive, but if you were on a phone, you could also have that mounted on your handlebars to give you all this information as well. But obviously the speed shows on here, but you've got this big speed setting here. You can lock or unlock your scooter, so that will stop people from being able to steal it easily. Obviously they can pick it up and carry it off, but it means they won't be able to turn it on and just go. So you press that lock button, you see on the screen, it totally locks. You press on that again, tells you to put in your scooter pin code, which I'm not going to show you our pin code here. And that unlocks. So now you're able to go back on the screen. So it's a 6-digit passcode there. Really good function for safety. That's a brilliant addition from Apollo, which they've got on all their new scooters. So we've unlocked it, turned it back on. Now it's reconnecting. So it's showing us our battery percentage, down here. We've got 81%. Shows you a rough estimate of how much range is left. This is showing 20 kilometers. Now I want to start my ride. You press ride, it times, consumption, shows the distance you'll have traveled, And then obviously when you're finished, you hold that down for about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and it stops. And that will log all of your individual rides if you want it to. Another cool feature. So let's move along. So we've got all our modes here: Eco, Comfort, Sport. And then if we triple click the power button, that sets Ludo mode. And you see it comes up here, a little sign saying Ludo. Now, you can limit the top speed of the scooter in Sport mode or in Ludo mode. So you go into here, and you can set minus, well, we've got it set at the top, which is 80, but you can minus that right down to whatever you want. We're gonna keep it at 80 because we're about to go riding, and then save. Cruise control, so you can select that as well. Now that will allow you to, once you've held at a certain speed for a certain amount of seconds, that will set the scooter into cruise control, so you don't then have to keep having your thumb on that throttle. If you're going on a long ride, that is a really good function as well. Kickstart, some people like it, some people don't, so that's whether you want to push off before the motor engages or whether you want it to immediately engage. I like that way personally because I like to have a quick start. Then you can also go into advanced settings. Now advanced settings, obviously we've set the max speed already. Acceleration and braking. Accelerator and brake throttle here. So you can pull the acceleration up between 1 and 10, so we're going to go max on that. Regenerative brake you can pull up between 1 and 10. Some people want more, some people want less. We'll save that as well. So now we've put maximum acceleration, maximum braking, cruise control, time to activate. So we just spoke about that before. So if we go into cruise control, you can set how many seconds. So you could say, I want, when I've been holding the steady speed for 3 seconds, it will engage cruise control. That's a really useful function to be able to customize. Some people don't want it to engage after 3 seconds. They want that flexibility. And some people will want it very quickly. Some people might want it at 10 seconds. So that is a really useful function as well. I'm going to put it on at 5. Well, I'll leave it at 6 actually, that's how it was set already. I don't use it a lot unless I'm going on long distance ridings. We're often doing off-road and stuff like that, so you're constantly needing to change speeds. Shut down time. At the moment it says 0 minutes. You can set how many minutes for when you want the scooter to shut off when you're not using it. Again, just a useful feature. So well done, Apollo. Again, so let's save that. Get back out of there. My big fingers aren't useful in this scenario. Get back to the original page we've got here. So I said we had lock, you can record the ride, and also we've got those extra bits. Then you can go check your ride history, you can check your statistics. We haven't got anything on there yet, obviously we haven't ridden, but it gives you distance, duration, average speed, top speed, distance of your longest ride, duration of your longest rides. You've got different information available to you here. Go to the shop. Now this is where Apollo sell you a load of extras and things like that, but still it's a good community sort of based aspect to the product. Then you've got your information, your personal information, your list of scooters. You might own more than one or one previously. They'll all be listed out here. Your security, so information about yourself, your app settings, help service, and about. So just a really, really useful integrated part of your new Phantom. Again, I will say it, such a clever idea from Apollo. It's not just a clever idea, it's a really useful idea for consumers. You don't have to buy a new scooter, you can just upgrade and it gives you all this functionality and extra power and regenerative braking. This V3 upgrade kit seems to be a real winner, like especially in my eyes. If I had a V2 and they weren't coming out for ages, a V3, and I didn't want to buy a brand new scooter, the V3 upgrade for whatever it's going to be priced at, somewhere in a few £100s, that seems great value for money. But let's take it out and test it properly. From the studio to the outdoors, we have the V3 here. Even riding it into this spot, I can tell this is going to be fun. It was so smooth and really responsive on the throttle. I'm looking forward to testing that regen out. We're going to do that. We're going to do the hill test. We're going to do a speed test. We're going to do acceleration and on versus the V2 test as well, over 100 meters. So that's all to come. Let's get on with it. First impressions, I love it. I mean, this is fun. It's so quick. I'm just glad to be back on a powerful scooter again. We've done so many small scooter reviews. Look, we're going like 2025 already. Just cruising about. Oh, I love it. Right, now it's time for the hill test. We're at the bottom of the hill. It's a 200-meter climb. I'm on the V3, obviously. We'll see how it compares against other scooters in its category. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, wheel spin at the start. Oh, it's so smooth, the acceleration. So smooth. We're at 40 kilometers an hour. Woohoo! Come on, have a bit under 30k and go. Results are in. hill climb challenge. Now, bear in mind, the V2, which is a fast scooter, which I like, did this 200 meters in 27 seconds. The V3 has smashed it and done it in 23.2 seconds. That's incredible. It's not even close. That is so much more powerful. Like, it really is great performance. Right, let's move on. I'm amazed at that. That is such a big difference. I think that's almost in Bisset. Is that in Bisset 10 plus territory? We'll have a look. Right, we're gonna go down the hill because I want to test out the regen braking because I've cranked it up to 10 and I want to see if you can stop in the middle of the hill on the way down just with the regen, no disc. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this scooter get up to about 20 miles an hour. No, let's say 15. Here we go, 15. And I'm using the regen, okay? I'm gonna put it on full now. Look at that. It hasn't stopped totally, I'm holding it on full. This is a 20-degree gradient hill, this. Look at that on the regen. All I need to do is just touch the brakes and we stop. That is amazing. Considering it never used to have any of that capability, putting this V3 kit on has changed this scooter so much. You remember the first review we did ages ago, it's actually on the V1, but similarly on the V2. The acceleration was good, I actually liked it, with the thumb throttle made it better. But it still jerked when you were in dual motor a little bit. I found it hard to ride slowly on it, but it was easy to ride fast. Now you do this with the V3, I'm just touching this accelerator here. I know I'm in Ludo as well, so if I crank the modes down, it would be easier, but it's so much smoother. So look, I'm riding 8 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour now, just touching that accelerator. And then if I want to, obviously, oh, here we go. It's wet and slushy out here, but we're gripping. It's nice. Like I said, I'm so glad to be back out on a powerful scooter. It's so much fun. This throttle is really sensitive, but not in a bad way. It's controllable, but it's immediate, the power. And the motors are so much quieter. Look, there's not that whir anymore. You know, that, it's just silence. I love it. Oh, sketchy section. Bit of water. Came through that well. Going so fast. And back to my favourite riding style. Foot back, on the rear foot plate. Left foot forward. Oh, it even skids. Whoa, yes. Just wet enough. Oh, that's sketchy. That is sketchy. Need to slow down a bit. Oh, about to hit a speed bump here. Oh. Nice, very comfortable. I remember. Same as the V2. So nice to ride. Oh, another speed bump. Way! Let's get back in shot. Oh, this is making me dream of summer. Look at this. We're just cruising 20 mile an hour. So smooth. Kick round this corner. Oh, nearly lost it. We are in the forest. We haven't been in here for ages because it's been so wet. And to be honest, it's probably still pretty much unrideable, but I couldn't resist having a scooter like this and not coming in here. There's so many leaves and mud on the ground. Oh, wow. It's so bumpy. All these flints have come exposed with the water we've had. So it's worse than usual. Paths are all still here. All the autumn leaves are still here, soaking wet. Loads of paths. There's so many flints. I do remember the suspension's not bad on the Phantom. Like, I wouldn't say it's a massively like off-road scooter, but it does handle it pretty well. Oh wow, the scenery is stunning. Like I was saying earlier, this just makes we're just wishing for summer here. It won't be long. Oh, sludgy slush! Blah! Big ruts. Look at these trees. This is epic. You forget how beautiful this is. One thing I love about scooters, or any sort of micro-mobility really, and even just bikes and stuff, it gets you out places like this, which you don't normally see in your day-to-day. It's so important to come out and get this fresh air. Look at different pictures, not just at screens. I'm guilty of it. We're probably all a bit guilty of it. Get out in the wild. Have some fun. Whee! This V3 is performing so well. Whoa, massive roots! Whoa! Oh! I basically just went off and got lost for a bit. God, I needed that. This thing is epic. All I'd change is in these conditions, I'd put some off-road tyres on it, and then it would really hack. Just look. It's really powerful. But can you hear how silent that is? Literally hear how silent that is. You know, we've trashed it. We've got loads of grass and muck and leaves and that underneath it. You know, it's really performed well, this Ludo. Oh, that was epic. That was so much fun. I've missed riding powerful scooters, especially out here. We got a chance to come out here. It is soaking wet and awful, but it was fun anyway. I'm so glad we did it. Look at the scenery. That hill climb was unreal. I cannot believe how much the performance has improved from the V2 to this. And the V2 isn't slow. It's a fast scooter. The V3 is really up the game. We're gonna go now to the airfield to do the top speed run. We're gonna do a V2 versus V3 acceleration challenge, and we're gonna do the brake test. So we will see you there. Right, we're out here on this glorious day. It's absolutely freezing, -2. We've got Duncan, the rider, 72 kg, who is about to test the top speed of the Apollo Phantom V3. Let's go.
Right, you ready, Dunk? Take it to the limit. 3, 2, 1, go. Very brave, Duncan, isn't he?
He's very brave.
Whoa, whoa, coming in hot, Dunk.
Coming in hot.
Blimey.
Okay, Dunk, you did feel the need for speed.
Yeah.
Flyby.
So, I'm gonna nick this out of your pocket.
What's it say? What's it say?
Drum roll, please. 67 kilometers an hour on the
pushing
GPS.
40. That's
over
pushing
40.
over 40.
That's 41, 42 miles an hour.
Shifting.
Okay, so the original V2, we got 40 mile an hour just. It nicked it, didn't it? This has now gone slightly faster, 41, 42 miles an hour. What's the feel like? Is there a difference in feel? Let me, hold on, you've got no mic on.
It definitely feels smoother than the V2. It pulls away faster without a doubt. I felt that about 65, 66 kilometers an hour, it's starting to hit a bit of a limit. It might even have more in the tank without any limit on it, but yeah, definitely smoother, definitely faster.
Okay, now it is time for the drag race. Obviously, we've done the speed run. We've looked at it in the studio. We've been putting the V3 through its paces, but now we wanted to show how it compares to the V2. So we're going to do a 100-metre race, aren't we, Toads?
We are, yes, on this wonderful airstrip that we have the use of.
That Jeff lent us for the day. Thanks,
Oh,
Jeff.
Jeff or Clive?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, let's get going.
Are we ready, racers? 3, 2, 1, go!
What's up, guys? Hope you're enjoying the video. Pascal and Toby here from Ride and Glide. We just wanted to say, please subscribe to the channel as we want to make bigger and better content for you guys all the time, but it does take time, doesn't it?
It does. As much fun as we have making these videos, we need you guys to help us out to grow the channel.
So thanks very much, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and carry on enjoying the video. Okay, so the first race, Dan was on the V2, Darren on the V3. Darren, as we said, was weighing 6 kg lighter than Dan, Podgy over there.
AKA
Toby,
Big Boy.
you were
Big
there.
Boy and Slim Jim.
Big Boy and Slim Jim. You were here at the start.
Yes.
How did they both put away? Was it pretty even at the start?
Actually, the V3 tended to sort of get off the line a little bit quicker every time. It seemed to
Okay.
be, and then it just seemed to be that as they were getting to top speed, the V3 just kept,
It definitely was.
kept pulling.
Down at the other end, when it was going through the finish line, it was about 8 or 10 metres ahead, it looked like, which is quite a lot over 100 metres. So far, the V3 is performing as we thought it should. Now, we're going to swap, what are their names?
It was
Big Boy
and Slim
Big
Jim.
Boy and Slim Jim, because we want to see, even with that 6 kg advantage or disadvantage swapped over, who will still win. Now, hopefully, the V3 has enough juice in it that 6k won't make a big difference and it will still win. But let's
Find
see.
out. Go!
Toby,
That was interesting.
success.
Yes, indeed. Your handiwork.
So,
Come good.
So, yeah.
Bet
So
you're relieved.
even though I fitted the V3 controller, it still worked magically and won every single time. Now, one race was quite close. We actually did about 10 races in the end. You might not see that on the edit. The V3 won every time convincingly, apart from one where it was near, but the V2 got a much better start in that race. So even when we switched the riders over,
Didn't make any difference.
It
The
didn't make any
V3
difference.
Was, yeah,
so to conclude the drag race,
indeed.
the V2 is still quick, but the V3
Is quicker.
nice. So now we're going to do the brake test. Obviously the V2 has hydraulic disc brakes. We've got zoom on there. And the V3 has the addition of the regen braking, which obviously comes as part of the package. So we're going to do the V2 and the V3 from 25 kilometers an hour or 15 mile per hour and see who can stop quicker. So obviously the V2 has just the hydraulic brakes and the V3 has the hydraulic and regen. Off we go. Right, so we're about to start the brake test. They're going to come along at the same time. Dan, the heavier rider by 6 kilos, is going to have the regen as well. Darren, who's 92 kilos, 6 kilos lighter, has just the hydraulic brakes. So 25k or 15 miles per hour. Here we go. Whoa, look at that. Darren, the lighter rider with just the hydraulic disc brake, zoom, comes to 3 meters 80, 3 meters 85, front wheel. Dan, with the regen on the V3 over here. Toby, what is the reading?
He is reading 320, what did you say, inches or millimetres?
No, meters.
Meters! Sorry, 3.2 metres.
3.2.
Neither of those.
So, that makes a big difference from 50 mile an hour. You've got a heavier rider, so you'd expect him to have more momentum coming through, but actually, it's still made a big difference. You've got what? What's that? From 3.8, 3.2, 0.6 of a metre.
Half a metre, over
stopping
half a metre.
from 15 mile per hour, and he's 6 kg heavier. Really, really impressive. So those regenerative brakes working on both motors make a big difference when braking. Not only that, it recharges the battery as well. Well done, boys. So that concludes. Toby, what are you doing?
Having fun.
That shows how cold it is anyway. The water's all frozen all over the ground. What else have we learnt today, Toby?
I didn't know that.
That's why I bring it.
Oh God, needed a bit of preempting for that.
Oh!
I know. We've learned that the V3 upgrade kit can be installed by just a regular Joe, and it'll work.
Not just a regular Joe, you should say.
A regular Pascal.
Yes, I installed the V3 upgrade kit with some help from Dan. It was fairly straightforward.
Yeah. Only 1 cup of tea involved.
Yeah, you did help me out there as well, and it does work. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, hopefully that'll give people confidence that
no
if
one
you buy the
died.
yeah.
And there was ice on the ground today.
There
so
was.
Well done to Duncan for doing the speed run. 67 kilometers an hour in icy conditions is you know, you've got
Brave,
to, as
bold.
you say, got to have some big kahunas for that, don't you?
Exactly.
Right, so if you enjoyed the video, please like it.
If you didn't, leave us a comment, tell us why. Well, leave us a comment if you liked it as well.
Subscribe to the channel, please. It really helps us when we're thinking about new videos, and also gives us the motivation to do more and more and more of what we love, because we're doing what you love.
And you can even ring that little bell, and then you'll know every time we upload a new video.
Any questions, give us a call, give us a live chat, send us an email, however you want to get hold of us. We're always
Letters,
available.
again, as I always say, no one ever sends us
pen
letters.
a letter, quill a letter.
Or postcards, you know, anything. We want to hear from you.
Toby would appreciate it, and he will respond
I
by
will.
letter himself.
I will. I'll write you a letter.
I
You
feel
write
like
me a letter.
someone's going to do that.
I'll write you a letter
Someone's
back,
gonna do
I
that.
guarantee.
Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.